We weren't getting paid.
One day, they sent us an email saying, we have all been made redundant. Today is our last day.
Oh, curious fuckers, aren't you in for a treat?
We are going to be giving you all the juicy details on why we had to go on a break with Fucks Given, our podcast.
The drama!
But first, a little news flash to say, look, we're wearing our hoodies and there's probably only 1 week left to get them. So make sure you go into the description and get your hoodie now because they are legitimately so cool. We're so proud of them. Be part of the Curious Fuckers Club with us.
Baby. I love my hoodie. It's so comfy and cozy.
I love it.
We're wearing larges because we went for the oversize. And it is actually quite big. So like think about us being like little and wearing a big oversized jumper. This would probably fit actually anyone of all sizes. But I hope you get it. I mean, when do you get to have sex toys and cool shit on your hoodie? There's like a spanker, there's an anal toy, there's some other shit on there. Yeah, we're really proud of this hoodie. It's with this company called Merch Service, who are part of Keep Hush, and they are like an ethical brand. They plant a tree with every item bought, which is really cool. And the reason why they're ethical is because a certain number has to be made before they go, yes, we'll take this on, print them all, and then send them all out. And it's a limited edition hoodie, which means this might not ever come back again.
Yeah, you better get it now or else you might never see it ever again.
You want it, man. You know you want it. Right, on to the actual drama situation. We're going to give you everything as unbiased as possible. Like, we're not going to hold anything back and we're going to tell you the lowdown that happened to us. I know it's going to get tough listening to this, but we're okay.
We are okay. Just remember, we're
actually really okay. We're actually better than ever,
which
is really
okay.
nice.
So basically, we started our podcast with Studio 71 over 2 years ago now. Like, it was a really great experience. We loved, like, everything about the podcast, the opportunity to host it with them. We won awards with them. We were nominated for Webby Awards and we won a British Podcast Award. But then things started getting a little bit weird.
Yeah, so we originally we joined with Studio 71 as our management for Come Curious, and while we were there we collaboratively decided to create a podcast because that was one of their specialities as a company. They manage, like, you know, YouTube channels and social media accounts and were expanding, so podcast naturally came up, which was exciting for us. And we all came up with the idea of Fucks Given and the format where Florence and I did create it together. We did a hell of a lot for this podcast. They did a lot too. We're not taking that away from them. They did a lot of like production side of things. Well, a lot of time and effort went into creating this podcast, as well as figuring out like the right guests to have. A lot of like evenings. We spent a lot of our evenings after work.
God.
Yeah.
When we started the podcast, I was working full time, you were working full time.
Yeah.
I would have to like do my full day's week of work and then one evening a week go in after finishing and record at like 7 p.m, 8 p.m. sometimes.
Yeah.
We would be in there like after hours.
Oh my, so
it was
late as well.
Pretty intense.
It was always like on a Thursday, and Thursday was like before pandemic, was always like loads of events were happening and things were happening and you wanted to go and have fun. And I don't live close to Central. Like, they were based in Central near Soho at the time, and we loved our little podcasting studio. It was great. You know, like The Office had free alcohol as well, so like a couple of times in the podcast we'd have a little drink, but we soon realised that was weird because you'd end up being like, what am I saying? And Jack, amazing Jack, he was our podcast producer. He was there every time we did it, recording. But sometimes our podcasts, we would record them for like, what, 2 hours? It would take forever. And then of course after a day's work and then getting home, you know, it would take you a while to get home. It would take me at least an hour to get home. It was just a bit like draining, especially when we weren't getting paid. We weren't getting paid. That was the biggest tea. Yeah, that's like the worst bit about it. I don't think we were paid an acceptable amount for maybe... Actually, I still don't think we're being paid maybe for a year and a half at least. We've been paid pennies, you know?
I mean, because basically, even though our podcast has over 2 million downloads and listens, like, we have like a really good amount of listens per week. An amount that's good enough to, you know, get sponsorships on the podcast,
like, earn some
and
serious
earn a decent
coin.
Money. Yeah. But But the people that we worked with didn't put the effort in to help us earn money through the podcast.
Yeah.
So, you know, for these 2 years, we have continuously done Fucks Given because we love you, the curious fuckers, and we love doing it as well. Like, it was a joy to make this podcast, but we did it for free.
Yeah, and we're not blaming anyone specifically at Studio 71 at all. It just sounded like, from what we've caught on, is that there were 2 different teams, you know, like there's a sales team and the podcast team, and there was a huge mix in communication of who was the responsibility to get us sponsorships and money. Because the way we were getting money was through Acast, which is basically like, it's not really like a podcast hosting site, but you put the podcast onto the platforms through Acast, and Acast
It's a little bit like YouTube.
Yeah, it's a bit like YouTube, and Acast find advertisers so they can, you know, be there on the podcast. And I'm sure for a long time you maybe didn't hear adverts on our podcast, and Acast was sort of like something that only came in a little bit later. And even then, we were earning maybe like
£100 a month.
Cut the cameras. Dead ass.
100 quid a month?
Recently, the most that we've made, I think, got 300 quid a month.
Yeah.
That was the most. And that was like after, you know, doing this for over 2 years.
Yeah, and that's split between Florence and I as well.
Yeah. So that's 150 each.
Yeah, and of course, you know, Studio 71, they take a cut of that. And so that was quite complicated. I mean, we were managed by Studio 71 before, and we both decided, well, we came to the conclusion that we didn't want to be managed by them anymore, but we would still stay on doing the podcast stuff. And stay on, because we love the podcast team. Like, massive shout out Winnie and Jack. You've been an absolute dream to work with, and we still love them both. We're still mates with them. Being at Studio 71 was really good. It was really beneficial. We learnt a lot.
Yeah.
We made like Fee as well. She put out a lot of like feelers. We were in the press loads, which was incredible. Yeah. So it definitely
there were some really good things about working with them.
Yeah.
But things got sort of like strange towards the end of the time that we were working with them.
Really strange.
We kind of like, I had like a gut feeling that something was going to happen. I was like, oh my god, they're going to drop us. They don't want to like work with us anymore.
Florence was dead. She was like, we're not making enough money. They're gonna kill us. They're gonna like drop us. And I was like, they're not gonna drop us. But you could tell something weird was going on, and we just couldn't figure it out. So yeah, in the end, we were both like, you're right. Maybe the podcast isn't earning them money, so they're just gonna like kick us off. And because they also do create other podcasts and manage amazing podcasts, we were like, we're just doing shit here, even though we're still getting like the views and the downloads and the press. Of course, it relays back onto your work, and then we also kind of felt like a little bit like, you know, when you just
such a chore.
Yeah, a chore, and it's so shit, because like, you know, when you really love your job but you dislike the people you're working with, and you're just like, oh, I don't want to do this again. And again, not saying that we disliked the guests. We had amazing guests on. We were working with Winnie, which was amazing, but like that whole general feel of nobody really wanted to be there. We're just like,
no one wanted to be there. That was like the ultimate thing in the end. And like, as a producer, like, you're supposed to inspire the people that you like work with. You're always supposed to be elevating and growing and like, you know, making it the best podcast that we can. But like, no one had any enthusiasm for it at the end. Like, we like put in some changes here and there to try and make it more exciting, but we had to force that to happen as well,
and that shouldn't happen at all, really.
No.
Such a shame, because we love Fucks Given. It's like our baby, and we were forcing these sort of exciting changes, and also we were hassling our podcast team a lot, because we could see other great podcasts growing and getting a lot of money, and well, looking like it from the outside, and being like, hey, so can you like, you know, help us with social media, because we pay for the social media graphics ourselves, and we, you know, like, we're not paying our guests because we don't actually have the financial capabilities to do that. And so like, we were putting pressure on our podcast team, on Jack and Winnie, and being like, hey, why are you not doing this for us, and why are you not getting us jobs? Like, in the whole time we've had Fucks Given, we had one sponsored job. So you can either make money through ad revenue, which was Acast, or you make it through sponsorships, which is where the money's supposed to be. A brand comes to you, or you come to a brand, you organise like, okay, sponsor 4 episodes for this big amount of money, and we would do like a little like, hey, like, go and check out this sex toy brand because we love them and because they're also paying us. They weren't finding the opportunities for us, and so it just became this like horrible back and forth of there was just pressure from both sides, and we now know it sounds like there was a hell of a lot of pressure on the podcast team from other people within the company as well, and especially the big bosses, and it just sounds like money and stress, and no one wanted to be there and do their job because it sounded like a horrible environment. Not down for that.
It was really weird. And then out of the blue, one day they sent us an email saying, we have all been made redundant. Studio 71's production team has been made redundant, and today is our last day.
Yeah. Which we were just like, what? Like we haven't been in a meeting about this. We haven't had any inclination that you guys have been made redundant. We're like, fuck, we've got guests booked in for the next couple of weeks. We literally had a podcast booked in for the next day, and we were like, well, we can't fucking do it. Like, what do we even do? We were even like, will we even have the opportunity to do a little goodbye episode?
Actually, yeah, we had to pay for the last 2 episodes to go out of our own pocket.
Yeah, it's just, we have had it lucky. No, we haven't. No, there's a lot of confusion here. You know, like, they did do a lot for us, but also we didn't get paid for the past 2 years. And a lot of people think that, like, podcasting is our job. That's our career.
I think when I told my friend that we didn't earn any money from the podcast, she was like, what? She was like, I thought this was like one of your main sources of income.
Yeah, because it looks so good from the outside. It's really highly polished, and we absolutely love it, and we scream it from the rooftops, and it sounds really great, but, like, you know, it's actually one of the things we just give up most of our free time for, and we have done for years. I mean, we're no strangers to that anyway. Come Curious, as the YouTube channel, hasn't made really that much money. It's only until recently it's like, okay, we can see this as maybe a part-time income, and we've been doing Come Curious free for like it's 6 years old now, so definitely free for at least like 3 years. But when we did Come Curious, and then we realized that brands might want to sponsor us, and it's the exact same with the podcast. We were so used to that, and it's like, if that was somebody going into an office and doing work and they were making money off of it, why wouldn't we make money off of it?
That's the thing, is that everyone else involved in the podcast was getting a paid salary.
Yeah, everyone else.
So we were the only ones that weren't getting paid, and we were the ones that, like, are the central piece of the podcast. The podcast would not exist without us, yet we were the only ones not getting paid for it.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I think we forget that as well. It's like, it's learning. We spoke to like a business career advisor, and it really helped hone in, like, know your worth and stop doing free work. And that was a real hard thing, especially as Florence and I have backgrounds in film and TV, and it was all about do free work, do work experience, like, just get your foot in the door. And then now it's like, what the fuck? No, like, I'm 30. I don't want to do free work anymore. I deserve that money. We've worked so hard on that podcast.
So hard.
And we deserve the money that we should. I want to be fucking rich from this. I want to be able to quit my day job from the podcast stuff. And it's almost like,
exactly,
what were we doing for the last 2 fucking years? Just sitting there, like, literally sitting on our thumbs, happy for doing this for free, giving up all those hours and hours of time. It's just mad.
We have a successful podcast. Our podcast would be big if we had like a different team.
Would be like,
they didn't put that effort in.
Would be like buying mansions and like our Ferraris. Exactly. I don't know what I said. A Ferrari.
We'd be living in LA.
Sorry, my Mustang. I'm a Mustang.
So, obviously, you must be thinking, well, what the fuck is going to happen to Fucks Given?
Yeah.
So we're going on a break. We put an episode out that is telling all you curious fuckers that we're going on a break. But we are coming back.
Yeah.
We are coming back. We have been having meetings with so many different people in the podcast space over in the US, in the UK, and we are in the works of getting a deal with a company that hopefully is going to be really, really great for us as Fucks Given and push us to the next fucking level and make us millionaires.
Yeah, we are so excited as well, because we're not just coming back with like Fucks Given. We're going to be coming back with like UK tours, Europe tours, US tours, where we literally go around and do the podcast live. We want to be handing out merch. We want to get new, bigger guests in, like fucking celebrities are like literally spilling their juicy details and their sex lives on. I mean, we're saying this now. This is the dream, but like, you know what?
This is the dream.
It's gonna happen. Yeah, it's gonna fucking happen. You gotta like.
It's gonna fucking happen.
Manifest that shit. Yeah, we might tweak the podcast format, but we love the podcast format. We love our guests as well. We just can't wait. There is so much. We want to be excited about this.
Yeah. And I am really excited about joining with a new company, a company that's gonna like actually put the effort in and be excited about working with us. Yeah, I can't wait, and I can't wait for you all to hear the next chapter of Fucks Given. Yes. Anyway, let us know what you thought about the little tea, the weird, the drama, the audacity, the last production company.
If you're annoyed for us, if something similar has happened to you as well, and how you've managed to come about it or around it, let us know. Or if there are any production companies that you think we should work with, it's always good to chuck them in. Even if it's not for us, it might be good for other people to have a look at, because so many people are starting up podcasts, and it's really lovely to see, especially when it's a podcast that like actually aims to help people and normalize things that make us feel shit. Do it. We have you have our support. We love you all.
Yeah. And in the meantime, if you want to support us financially, just go over to our OnlyFans.
Oh my god, yes.
That's how we afford to live right now.
Yes, or our Patreon. You can do that as well, but that's pretty dead.
But OnlyFans, you get like some cool content on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you get like fucking news. Like Florence you're doing like erotic ASMR and shit, which is really cool.
Hell yeah.
I just get my pussy out, pond the regs, and like, that's it.
You need to be there. It's where the party's at.
But yeah, we're sending you lots of love.
Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video.
Comment.
And I would say listen to our podcast, but might have to wait a little bit.
Yeah, and if you haven't already, then you've got so many great episodes that are ready to be listened to right now.
And also go and buy our hoodie before it's too late, because I just want to see you walking down the street in this hoodie.
Oh my god, yeah. Like, if you get one of these hoodies, you best snap us a pic.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. Mwah.